Devarim, or Deuteronomy, chapters 5 through 7. And Moshe called all Israel and said to them, Hear, O Israel, the laws and right rulings which I speak in your hearing today, and you shall learn them and guard to do them. Yehovah our Elohim made a covenant with us in Horeb. Yehovah did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, those who are here today, all of us who are alive. Yehovah spoke with you face to face on the mountain from the midst of the fire. I stood between Yehovah and you at that time to declare to you the word of Yehovah, for you were afraid because of the fire, and you did not go up to the mountain, saying, I am Yehovah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yehovah your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the generation to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving commitment to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. You do not bring the name of Yehovah your Elohim to naught, for Yehovah does not leave him unpunished who brings his name to naught. Guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yehovah your Elohim commanded you. 6 days you labor and shall do all your work. But the 7th day is a Sabbath of Yehovah your Elohim. You do not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your ox, nor your donkey, nor any of your cattle, nor your sojourner who's within your gates, so that your male servant and your female servant rest as you do. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yehovah your Elohim brought you out from there by a strong hand and by an outstretched arm. Therefore, Yehovah your Elohim commanded you to perform the Sabbath day. Respect your father and your mother, as Yehovah your Elohim has commanded you, so that your days are prolonged, and so that it is well with you on the soil which Yehovah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor, you do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor do you desire your neighbor's house, his field, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. These words Yehovah spoke to all your assembly in the mountain from the midst of the fire of the cloud and of the thick darkness with a loud voice. And he added no more. He wrote them on 2 tablets of stone and gave them to me. And it came to be, when you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was burning with fire, that you came near to me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and said, See, Yehovah our Elohim has shown us his esteem and his greatness, and we've heard his voice from the midst of the fire. Today, we've seen that Elohim speaks with man and he lives. And now why should we die? For this great fire is consuming us. If we hear the voice of Yehovah our Elohim any more, then we shall die. For who is there of all flesh who has heard the voice of the living Elohim speaking from the midst of the fire, as we have, and does live? You go near and hear all that Yehovah our Elohim says, and speak to us all that Yehovah our Elohim says to you, and we shall hear and do it. And Yehovah heard the voice of your words when you spoke to me. And Yehovah said to me, I've heard the voice of the words of this people which they have spoken to you. They've done well in all they have spoken. Oh, that they had such a heart in them to fear me and to guard all my commands always, so that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Go and say to them, return to your tents, but you stand here by me, and let me speak to you all the commands and all the laws and the right rulings which you are to teach them. And they shall do them in the land which I am giving them to possess. And you shall guard to do as Yehovah your Elohim has commanded you. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left. Walk in all the ways which Yehovah your Elohim has commanded you, so that you live and it be well with you, and you shall prolong your days in the land which you possess. Chapter 6. And this is the command, the laws, and the right rulings which Yehovah your Elohim has commanded to teach you to do in the land which you're passing over to possess, so that you fear Yehovah your Elohim, to guard all his laws and his commands which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the days of your life, and that your days be prolonged. And you shall hear, O Israel, and shall guard to do that it might be well with you, and that you increase greatly, as Yehovah Elohim of your fathers has spoken to you, in a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yehovah our Elohim, Yehovah is one. And you shall love Yehovah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I'm commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them on your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. And it shall be, when Yehovah your Elohim brings you into the land of which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, to Yaakov, to give you great and good cities which you did not build, and houses filled with all kinds of goods which you did not fill, and wells dug which you did not dig, and vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant, and you shall eat and be satisfied. Be on guard, lest you forget Yehovah who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage. Fear Yehovah your Elohim, and serve him, and swear by his name. Do not go after other mighty ones, the mighty ones of the peoples who are all around you. For Yehovah your Elohim is a jealous El in your midst, lest the displeasure of Yehovah your Elohim burn against you, then he shall destroy you from the face of the earth. Do not try Yehovah your Elohim as you tried him in Massah. Diligently guard the commands of Yehovah your Elohim and his witnesses and his laws which he has commanded you. And you shall do what is right and good in the eyes of Yehovah, that it might be well with you, and you shall go in and possess the good land of which Yehovah swore to your fathers, to drive out all your enemies from before you, as Yehovah has spoken. When your son asks you in time to come, saying, "What's the meaning of the witnesses and the laws and the right rulings which Yehovah our Elohim has commanded you?" Then you shall say to your son, "We were slaves of Pharaoh in Mitzrayim, and Yehovah brought us out of Mitzrayim with a strong hand, and Yehovah sent signs and wonders great and grievous upon Mitzrayim, upon Pharaoh, and upon all his household before our eyes. And he brought us out from there to bring us in, to give us the land of which he swore to our fathers. And Yehovah commanded us to do all these laws, to fear Yehovah our Elohim for our good always, to keep us alive as it is today. And it is righteousness for us when we guard to do all this command before Yehovah our Elohim, as he commanded us." Chapter 7. When Yehovah your Elohim brings you into the land which you go to possess, he shall also clear away many nations before you, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Kenaites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when Yehovah your Elohim gives them over to you, you shall strike them and put them under the ban completely. Make no covenant with them, and show them no favor, and do not intermarry with them. You do not give your daughter to his son, and you do not take his daughter for your son. For he turns your sons away from following me to serve other mighty ones. Then the displeasure of Yehovah shall burn against you and promptly destroy you. But this is what you do to them. Break down their slaughter places and smash their pillars and cut down their asherim and burn their carved images with fire. For you are a set-apart people to Yehovah, your Elohim. Yehovah, your Elohim, has chosen you to be a people for himself, a treasured possession above all the peoples on the face of the earth. Yehovah did not set his love on you nor choose you because you were more numerous than other people, for you were the least of all peoples. But because of Yehovah loving you and because of him guarding the oath which he swore to your fathers, Yehovah has brought you out with a strong hand and ransomed you from a house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim. And you shall know that Yehovah, your Elohim, he is Elohim, the trustworthy El, guarding covenant and loving commitment for 1,000 generations with those who love him and those who guard his commands. But repaying those who hate him to their face, to destroy them, he does not delay to do so with him who hates him. He repays him to his face. And you shall guard the command and the laws and the right rulings which I command you today, to do them. And it shall be because you hear these right rulings and shall guard them and do them, that Yehovah your Elohim shall guard with you the covenant and the loving commitment which he swore to your fathers, and shall love you and bless you and increase you, and shall bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of your land, your grain and your new wine and your oil, the increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flock in the land which he swore to your fathers to give you. Blessed are you among all peoples. There's not going to be a barren man or barren woman among you or among your livestock. And Yehovah shall turn away from you all sickness and put on you none of the evil diseases of Mitzrayim which you have known, but he shall put them on all those who hate you. And you shall consume all the peoples whom Yehovah your Elohim is delivering over to you, and your eye shall not pardon them, and do not serve their mighty ones, for that's a snare to you. When you say in your heart, these nations are greater than I'm unable to drive them out. Don't be afraid of them. Remember well what Yehovah your Elohim did to Pharaoh and to all Mitzrayim, the great trials which your eyes saw, and the signs and the wonders, the strong hand and the outstretched arm by which Yehovah your Elohim brought you out. Yehovah your Elohim does so to all the peoples of whom you are afraid. And Yehovah your Elohim also sends the hornet among them until those who are left, who hide themselves from you, are destroyed. Do not be afraid of them, for Yehovah your Elohim, the great and awesome El, is in your midst. And Yehovah your Elohim shall drive out those nations before you, little by little. You're not allowed to destroy them at once, lest the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. But Yehovah your Elohim shall deliver them over to you and destroy them with a great destruction until they're consumed. And he shall give their sovereigns into your hand, and you shall destroy their name from under the heavens. No one is going to be able to stand against you until you've destroyed them. The carved images of their mighty ones you're to burn with fire. Do not covet the silver or gold that's on them, nor take it for yourselves, lest you be snared by it, for it is an abomination to Yehovah your Elohim, and do not bring an abomination into your house, lest you be accursed like it. Utterly loathe it and utterly hate it, for it is accursed.